Addictions go way beyond just drugs. Gambling, gaming, social media. And new tech constantly provides new and more powerful ways to cater to our needs, almost too well. Raising concerns how it will end and how we can handle this. In this video, we'll show how addictions evolved in the last decades, show what the core mechanism and challenge of an addiction is, and give an idea where we're going in the future. Everything we do because we believe it will make us feel better. And if we feel terrible and we cannot switch out of our state of being and get into that state we crave for, a substance offers an easy and reliable way out, a solution to our current problem. I will not go into the shortcomings of this coping strategy. We all know them. And to some degree, we all use them. Coffee, sugar, alcohol, yet the mechanism is the same for sugar and crack. Yet where does it become problematic? Where to draw the line? Where does regular behavior end? And where does substance abuse start? At coffee, alcohol, or cocaine? Clinical psychology takes a pragmatic approach and draws the line when it causes suffering, meaning for a diagnosis of substance abuse, there needs to be suffering for the person itself or those around them. This, by the way, raises an interesting question about psychedelics like LSD or psilocybin, and whether these substances are a drug with negative consequences, since there is little harm from their consumption. Quite to the contrary, they are associated with remarkable beneficiary effects, going so far that they even help cure other addictions of substance abuse. And although the physical harm, the social harm, and the level of addiction differs from substance to substance, ultimately it seems that not the substance itself is the core of the addiction. It is more about what implications a cheap and reliable shortcut to alter our state of being has on how we balance our well-being. And that directly brings us to the new kid on the block in terms of addictions. In recent years, more and more addictions appeared without being tied to the consumption of a substance, with the classic being gambling addiction. These soon became known under the name of behavioral addictions, since there is a crave to act out the behavior, such as gambling, instead of taking the substance. Yet these behavioral addictions even more raise the question about what the core of an addiction is, and how they cause harm and suffering, since there is no physical downside. In a gambling addiction, we can still directly see the harm caused. Losing one's life savings definitely is a very bad and harmful thing. And we can see and understand why something like this is classified as a psychological disorder. But when gaming addictions became prominent in the early 2000s, it sparked a debate more than ever. Now there is no physical harm nor tangible loss. And why should excessive gaming be harmful? What could be wrong to enjoy some hours in front of a computer and switch off? What could be harmful, right?
Our children are becoming addicted. They're playing for days on end to the exclusion of everything else. Try to stop them and you're guaranteed a meltdown.
Okay, my mom just canceled my brother's World of Warcraft account and he is freaking out.
It's hard not thinking of a junkie when seeing how these people react when taken away the game, the possibility to act out that behavior. Yet what is interesting about these new behavioral addictions is that they have no more obvious negative side effects, and the only thing remaining is the psychological mechanism that defines each and every addiction. A cheap and reliable shortcut for altering our state of being into a blissful state, with the effect of neglecting all skills and coping strategies to get that blissful state without that behavior, leading to the result eventually of losing them. So when eventually taking away the shortcut after some time, leaving the person absolutely optionless. In other words, our own well-being becomes dependent on that single shortcut. The movie Limitless shows that in an extreme variant very nicely. A drug that helps us out of our misery in every way, makes us feel good, smart, successful, getting in full control. Yet the more we use it, the more we decay. And then in 2007, the first iPhone was released, and only a few years later, the police switched out their don't drink and drive signs to don't text and drive. Everybody knew behavioral addictions are not a niche and they're not going away. Subsequently, in 2013, the DSM, the American Classification of Psychological Disorders, has officially introduced behavioral addiction as an official psychological disorder into the DSM. In 2018, the second classification of psychological disorders, the ICD, followed. Gambling disorder was the first to be named, and gaming disorder soon followed. In summary, behavioral addictions such as gaming and social media addiction reveal the core of an addiction, a cheap and reliable shortcut to altering our state of being in a positive way, with the downside that the more we use this shortcut, the more we lock in on that specific behavior and lose the flexibility and ability to switch into a positive state without it. Technological progress will keep accelerating, and human ingenuity to leverage this to cater to human needs will not go away. Anyone who's tried virtual reality or watched movies like Ready Player One has a taste of what the future holds. Yet what is the solution for humanity to avoid becoming more and more dependent on these seductive and fast evolving dopamine plugs, which allow us to alter our state so easily and so reliably? The answer might seem boring and old: culture. From an evolutionary perspective, the idea and value of culture is to adapt faster to change than our genes allow it. While a genetic change takes thousands of years, a cultural change happens within decades, which offers a quick fix solution to sudden environmental shifts. And through the stories we tell each other and the values we celebrate, we share what works and how to overcome challenges we collectively face. And the bigger the problem we face, the stronger the cultural response. Interestingly, the term meme, often used today for humorous moments many recognize without additional context, was originally coined to describe this process of cultural evolution. Memes being the cultural equivalent of genes, the fundamental units of cultural evolution. So what is the challenge we have to master, resulting from the constant availability of cheap shortcuts to alter our state? It's understanding our own reward system and how to shift our mental states without relying on substances, an app, or other external triggers. And the reward for mastering it is gaining access to the real world, while the ones without it remain trapped to the constantly more powerful dopamine plugs. And this is what this channel is all about. Becoming a master in swiping our states without falling prey to a substance, a game, an app, or a stock.